What mindset, what traits do successful investors have? What's important to be really successful? So I want to share with you what I call my 6 seismic shifts of becoming a successful real estate investor. Hey, just want to remind you, we're going to have Dealmaker Live this year in Dallas, Texas. Head over to dealmakerliveevent.com to grab your tickets. It's going to be in person or virtual, whichever you prefer. I'll see you there. All right, seismic shift number 1 is to develop clarity. I talk about clarity all the time because it's so important. Because getting clear about what you want and why you want it is so important. And figuring out why it's important that you want to be financial free. Now, I see the mistake that people make is that they make it just about money. I want $10,000 per month, or I want a $10 million net worth, or I want 1,000 units, or whatever they come up with. And that's a good start, but it's a really weak reason to want to be financially free. Now, what is it? Why is that important to you? Ask yourself what's behind that reason. So let's peel back the onions, right? So why do you want to be financially free? Well, first of all, I want to make more money. Okay, that's a money thing. We got that. What's behind that reason? Why is that important? So I quit my job. Okay, well that's better. Now, what's behind that reason? Well, it might be, well, I want to spend more time with my family. All right, great. Well, why is that so important to you? And keep asking those questions, because that's when you really get to the root of why is financial freedom so important. It's also worth asking, who will be affected by you becoming financially free, right? Is it just you? Is it maybe your family? Maybe aging parents that you want to take care of? Maybe a nonprofit you want to support? And also, what happens if you fail, right? So if it's just about you, then you're letting yourself down, which is bad enough. But if it's about your spouse or your kids or your aging parents, you're going to let more people down than just you. So who's affected if you fail? What's the impact of that? Seismic shift number 2 is belief. All right, so you have to believe in various different things. You have to believe in yourself that you can do something, right? You have to believe in whatever system you're following or recipe you're following. In this case, maybe multifamily real estate investing is the vehicle and the system, and maybe you're following our system or you want to follow our system or someone else's system. You might have to believe in a mentor, an advisor who will help you. And, you may believe in a higher power, as I do. I think God is central and our faith is central to where I am today. And it may be the same thing for you. Whether you're, religious or spiritual or not, it doesn't really matter. If you look at all successful entrepreneurs, they all believe. They all believe in one or more of these things. And we're all exercising a degree of faith, whether we call it that or not. But you have to believe that you can do something. Now, one way you can build this belief is to, for example, find a role model, either on a podcast or from a book, or by working with a mentor or networking with an advisor, right? Someone who you can look up to, someone who you resonate with, someone maybe who believes in you. And then you can use various techniques like affirmations. We talk about that, affirming that you can do something, and maybe to some degree tricking your mind into believing that you can, or using visualizations to convince yourself that you can do certain things. And this is where, for example, visiting a property or creating your sample deal package, when you do these things, it makes these things real, allows you to visualize what is not yet there. But the problem is, if you don't develop seismic shift number 2, which is to believe, if you don't believe you can do something, why would you ever take any action towards that end? It just makes no sense. Why would you take a step in a direction when you don't even know you can reach the destination? It doesn't make any sense. Therefore, if you ever want to change your life doing anything, multifamily or otherwise, you have to believe. It could be anything in life. It could be relationships. It could be your health. If you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to take the action. Even if you decide to take action, it's not going to take very long. You have to believe you can do something. Seismic shift number 3 is surrender. Okay, what I mean by surrender is you have to be coachable or become coachable. You kind of have to give up what you think you know, or that you think you know everything, and surrender yourself to the system that you're following or to an advisor. You have to give up a portion of your ego. You have to say, gosh, maybe I don't know everything. I'm going to follow this particular system or this particular mentor or teacher. Our system is called the Dealmaker Blueprint. We're just launching that right now. We've been developing it for years, and we're formalizing that in the system. And it's helped countless people become financially free through multifamily real estate investing. Part of surrendering is not thinking that you know everything, or that you can figure everything else out yourself. So you may have to network with an advisor, or maybe you need to hire a mentor. And we have a mentoring program really, really proud of. We've had so many people go through that and do their first deal. We've had 3 of our mentors actually come and now are mentoring. They're full-time. They quit their job and they're now helping others do the same thing. So if you value mentorship, if you have the ability to invest in yourself and you want to accelerate your goals, scale faster, and avoid some of the bigger mistakes, then check out our mentoring program. It's at themichaelblank.com/mentor. You can schedule a strategy session there and see if mentoring is right for you. But the truth is, the people who are successful are the most coachable. These are the students who are, and I just see some trends. For example, people who have military backgrounds or sports backgrounds who maybe played sports in school and college, they tend to be more coachable because they've already been exposed to a coach. People who have been in business and entrepreneurship, who have coaches, they get it. And when they want to do something new in their life, they simply hire a coach. It's like a no-brainer for them. They kind of accept that they don't know everything. They seek out a role model or someone who has the answers. So ask yourself this question in this case: how coachable are you? On a scale from 1 to 10. 1 to like, I don't need coaching, to 10, my gosh, I wish someone would just show me the way. Now, if you rate yourself 6 or lower, take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how can I change my way of thinking so I become more coachable? Seismic shift number 4 is consistency. Finally, we get to consistency. Michael, you're always talking about consistency. Finally, we get to take some action, but it's more of a mindset thing than an action. Yes, it results in action like all mindsets do. But I remember listening to Lewis Howes on his podcast when he was interviewing Grant Cardone. And Lewis and Grant Cardone, they know each other, so Lewis kind of heckles him and gets kind of deep with him, and invariably Grant ends up shedding more than one tear on the show. It's really entertaining. But one time he asked him, Grant, what's your secret to success? And Grant paused for a moment, and I thought he was going to say, my plane, or something like that. No, he didn't say that. He said consistency. I think that is interesting. Consistency. What a non-flamboyant thing as a secret of success. And this is why I think the 4th seismic shift is consistency. You have to show up every single day. And I don't like the idea of massive action. I think that's dumb. Like, who in the world takes massive action? No one can take massive action. Like, it's so overwhelming. Maybe 5% of the population can take, quote, massive action. What I would like you to do is to take tiny action. Doing a little bit every single day. That's what I call tiny action, and that is consistency, and that, over time, leads to results. Seismic shift number 5 is to play the long game. I really wish I had a silver bullet. How to be financially free in the next 30 days. Man, I would sell courses and programs. It would be amazing, and the world will be a different place today. If I could show people how to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, if I can help people quit smoking in 30 days, it would be magical. But as with many things in life that are meaningful and lasting, they don't take 30 days. They take sometimes a very long time to do. And so you have to change your mind shift. In our culture, there's this thing about instant gratification. And it's not going to work. It really never serves you in anything meaningful ever in life. Think about any times you exercise instant gratification versus playing the long game, right? It's the same thing here. Some people say, when I say, hey, most people can quit their jobs in 1 to 3 years. And that's actually true. People, when they decide to go in multifamily, they make that decision we talked about. They gain that clarity we talked about. It takes them a year or 2 to quit, almost without exception, because of that decision point. And when I say 1 to 3 years, some people go, oh my gosh, it's kind of a long time. And I'm like, well, is it? Is it really? What is your current retirement plan right now? Okay? So, right, if you're 40 years old, your retirement plan is 20 years. Well, I got you beat by, 17 years. Or if you're just starting out, you have a 40-year retirement plan. Or if you're, whatever. This is a really short retirement plan. Do you think you can stick with something for 1 to 2 years, right? Enough for you to quit your job permanently? So really, it is the long game, but it's not the super long game. Like, your current retirement plan is the long game. Like, good for you for playing the super long game. I just want you to play a long game and really kind of not think about instant gratification, but think about what it will mean to you and your family if you could quit your job and focus full time on them, on anything you want to do, on traveling or spending more time with your nonprofit of choice or doing whatever you want, starting a podcast, everything like that. Think about that. Seismic shift number 6 is to be open to working with others. Now, interesting, if you're in a full-time job right now, it might seem a little bit more that you're kind of on your own a little bit. Yes, you work in a team, but you kind of tend to compete with people really more. Like maybe you're competing for a promotion. Even in single-family house investing, I mean, it's just typically you. If you've flipped a few houses or you have a few houses, yes, you have your realtor, maybe your property man. You don't have really a team. It's not like you have a partner. There's no need to have a partner. Now, partnering is perceived as a high-risk venture. But interestingly, in multifamily, it's kind of the norm. Like it's almost the exception to go to it alone. Therefore, it does require a mindset shift because of what you heard about partnerships. Now, partnering in multifamily is a little bit different because it's not like a lifetime thing where you're starting a company for the next 30 years. It's like a marriage. Oh my gosh, I'm about to get married for the next 30 years. And if I ever get a divorce, it's going to be this messy thing. Really think about it. You're partnering with a person on a single deal that has a lifespan of 3 to 5 years before the exit is already built into the plan. You already have the divorce planned. Okay, if you can survive 3 to 5 years of a bad partnership, there's an end in sight. And you don't have to do another deal with that person. Therefore, the downside of partnering in multifamily is much more limited than almost any other business I can think of. The upside, however, is magical. Okay, the upside of partnering with joint venture typically results in people, number one, scaling their businesses much faster, and 2, having more fun. Why are they having more fun? Because with a partner, you can focus on the things that you really love to do, right? So if you are a relationship person and the sight of a spreadsheet makes you break out in a cold sweat, you might be a great capital raiser, right? You like to relate, you'd like to network with people, talk with people, you're a relationship guy. Versus you might have someone who is much more detail-oriented, more analytical. They might be perfect for finding deals, analyzing deals, doing due diligence, and doing the nitty-gritty stuff, day-to-day stuff that bores you. And this kind of stuff lights the other person up, right? They love to hunt. Right, then there's a manager, the person who likes to manage things and slowly improve them over time. Is a third kind of personality. It's the management personality, right? So these are magical joint ventures of the hunter, looking for deals, the capital raiser, and then the operator, right, the manager. And then there's a fourth component, the people who love to market, to write, to produce content. When your business gets big enough, you start thinking about platform building. Right, we talk about that a lot as well. Go to platformbuilders.com. We actually have a series of blogs and training material. If you want to build an online thought leadership platform to expand your business, that is going to be for you. So there's really 4 roles in the syndication. And with a joint venture, you get to do that thing that you love to do more than anything else. That's the magical thing about joint ventures. So be open to work with others. All right, there you have it. You have the 6 seismic shifts to become a successful real estate investor. You got to start by developing clarity. Number 2, you got to believe in yourself, in the system you're following, maybe even in a higher power. But you have to develop a belief that you can do something. And number 3, you have to surrender a little bit and be open to taking guidance from others. You have to be consistent. You have to do a little bit every day. Start thinking about playing the long game. Don't look for instant gratification, right? Seek for permanent change. Seek to permanently change the trajectory of your life. And when I say financial freedom is your long game, that's not really your long game. Think about, at that point, once you've become financial free, about leaving a legacy. Really play the long game. Think this through, because if you decide to do multifamily, you are going to do your first deal. You will become financially free. And now what? Right? Now your challenge becomes, what is that life of significance for you? What is that legacy? And then finally, seismic shift number 6 is don't go at it alone, all right? Be open to working with others by partnering with others. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you found this useful and, more importantly, actionable. Examine your own mindset and see what do you need to change about your mindset. If you do that, you're going to be best prepared for success in real estate. All right, you guys, my name is Michael Blanc. Catch you next time.